Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 28 of WesterosCraft Walks with your lovable host, Dutchguard. Today we're here in Maidenpool, the seat of House Mooten, located just on the southern shore of the Bay of Crabs. So we've just hopped the pond from Rothermont in our previous episode, and now we're on the other shore, and we're in the Riverlands. To the west here, we've gotten the rest of the Cracklaw Point region, which is part of the Crown Lands, and to the east, we're further into the Riverlands, and that goes back to Salt Pans and the Quiet Isle, which we explored in a previous video. But in this video, we'll be exploring the beautiful town of Maidenpool and its castle, the seat of House Mooten, which you can see in the distance there. And this is definitely one of my most favorite builds in the Riverlands, and perhaps on our entire server, because it is just so consistently beautiful and detailed. So we've just started out here on a merchant vessel, a merchant galley, if you will, and it's definitely the biggest ship in the harbor at the minute. And you know it's a merchant galley because you've got all these crates carrying different goods. We've got some fish, we've got iron ingots, we've got fabrics and grapes and glass, and all over from the known world, Essos and Westeros and all different parts. We've got all kinds of ships in this harbor here, which is pretty representative of the different kinds of ships we've got in our server. And just going down this dock here, which I really love the design of actually, with this netting to prevent you from falling into the water, we'll be heading into the main harbor area of Maidenpool. Now, the harbor area is sort of blocked off from the rest of the town for defensive purposes. You can see the lighthouse of the harbor area there, which connects to the walls of Maidenpool. And so it's exposed to the sea, but the town itself is also completely encircled by a wall, and you can see part of that wall here. This is the gate, the northern gate that leads into the town. But we're going to continue along the harbor area to explore one of the canon locations of Maidenpool, and one of my favorite locations here. It's mentioned in a point of view chapter in A Song of Ice and Fire, but I won't spoil who it is or when it's mentioned, because I don't want to ruin it for those of you who haven't read that part yet. But it's a really cool little build, and just goes to show that we put a lot of attention into the different details on our server. So here it is, the Stinking Goose, and it is a very hidden away, tucked away tavern below a knacker's barn. And a knacker is a medieval profession. It's someone who gets rid of corpses of animals that are no longer deemed suitable for consumption. So the Stinking Goose is probably a very appropriate name, and this is sort of where the convicts of Westeros can come for safe haven from the authorities before they hop off on a ship into other parts of the world. And so it's sort of a cantina, if you will, for the outlaws of Westeros. And if we just head up this ladder here, we'll head into the knacker's barn, which is covered in blood and nasty animal guts and probably really, really stinky. My nostrils are howling right now. We've got this nice little yard here with animal bones half buried in the dirt. So let's get out of here. But again, that is part of the canon and the lore of Maidenpool, and so we had to include it. Alright, so moving along back down the harbor, you may have seen an inn on the way down here, which was called Florian's Inn, and Florian is one of the legends of Maidenpool, and we'll get into that a bit later. So just going around the outside of these walls here, I'm back through this little alleyway, which I just love, and the Dalen Mott's Harbor Master. You've got a Harbor Master here. I know you have a Customs Officer as well. All of the economy and all the different professions in Maidenpool have all been accounted for. You've got at least one of everything. You've got, of course, fishmongers here, and just going under this main gate of the northern gate of Maidenpool here, we've got a nice little market square with people selling meat, fabric, spices from Dorne, sailed all the way up from Dorne along the east coast of Westeros. We've got some armor being sold here as well. We're going up the main road of Maidenpool here now, and you can see all the different cool styles of the Riverlands, which I think is just sort of a typical medieval style. You've got cobblers here, which of course are shoemakers. You've got a baker, cheese, someone who bakes a lot of cheese, I guess. And you can see it there, our cool custom cheese block texture, which I really love, because cheese was pretty luxurious commodity back then, so he's probably living off a pretty decent salary. We've got a nice little residence here as well, so probably some poorer people. We have a nice little dining and kitchen area down here, and some thatch beds up here for those people to stay in. And a pretty common example of the Riverland style. I've got a mostly wooden structure with a stone foundation and a wooden roof. We also have some slate roofs as well, you can see in the distance there, which are for the richer houses and for the richer denizens of Maidenpool. We've also got a pretty cool septon here, which is down that way. This town is pretty big, so we won't be able to get through all of it, but I highly encourage you to go check it out yourself. We're just going to take a peek out at the lands around Maidenpool through the Fool's Gate, which is, of course, another canon bit of information from the books, which is mentioned. And you can see just these beautiful farmland just stretching out into the distance, and it's really nicely integrated into the economy of the town. We've got all these wagons here carting in grain from the outside area. We've got lots of barns and farmhouses out here here as well. I won't be able to explore it today because that might take too long, so I'm just going to stick to the town and the castle. But out here, we've got the Pool of Maidenpool, which is, of course, where Maidenpool gets its name. And it's called the Maidenpool because there's a legend that the knight Florian first spied his great love, Jonquil, bathing here with her sisters. This was, of course, before the town existed, and Florian spied through some bushes at Jonquil bathing in the nude. And we've got a nice little statue of Jonquil here in the middle of the pond. That's just her bust there. You might be able to make out her head and her locks of flowing hair. It's a bit overgrown, but it's a nice little detail all the same of the town. Really love that. And that, of course, is where... Oh, God, I'm drowning! That is, of course, where the song and the legend of Florian and Jonquil comes from. The lyrics actually never appear in the books, annoyingly, otherwise I would have given you a nice little rendition of the song of Florian and Jonquil, but the legend itself is mentioned quite frequently, as of course, where Maidenpool gets its name from. Right, so now we're going to head up into the Castle of the Mootons, which I think is a really beautifully laid out and detailed castle, and I'll get through as much of it as I can, but it is very easy to get lost because it is very interestingly built, but it is definitely one of my favorite builds, and castle builds in a town in our server. We've got a nice little blacksmith here. We've got a wagon stable here. We've got horse stables here as well. Wagon stable, is that a thing? But you've got pretty much all of the faculties and facilities of your average castle. Perhaps a bit more than your average castle, actually. We've got pigsties here. We've got chicken coop. We've got a little garden out in this yard, and some kennels as well, which I think are really nice details and additions to this castle. Most castles should have them, but not all of them do, but the builder of this castle did a great job of including all of that. We've got some crypts down there as well, some more storage, and just going up here, we'll be able to get into the higher parts of the keep. If you look just up there, you'll notice there are some cauldrons waiting to be dropped upon us from above, and that must be for boiling tar or water to be poured upon attackers. Just another really cool defensive detail of this castle. Right, so we're heading up through the main keep here. I'm gonna head up these stairs. Let's see if we can find, just crossing this bridge, the Maester's quarters. Oh, cool, look at that. You can see some of the forest to the east of Maidenpool here. I think there's a little watermill down there as well, and some of the agriculture down there. So cool, just love all of the detail being put in and around the town. So this must be the Maester's quarters. You've got some skulls and some mushrooms hanging about, as well as some of that cool paper texture that we've got here. And up here, fingers crossed, yes, we've got a beautiful little rookery, with some blood, of course, being the meat that the Maester feeds to the ravens. We've got some notes hanging up here, and some sausages, some of the favorite raven food, and a nice little view onto the town. We'll get a better view later, but I just wanted to pop into the rookery, because I just love them so much. Alright, back into the main keep, heading up here, and I just love, you know, it's not always rammed with detail here. We've got some nice little window seats here, and just a nice table in the middle of the room, but it's not constantly bookcases and seating everywhere. We've got this nice open corridors as well, these beautifully detailed ceilings. I think always the trademark of a master builder is the detail they put into the ceilings, the rafters and the shape of them and all. Alright, this is a beautiful little kitchen here. I love the tiled floors, must be marble or plaster or something like that. We've got a nice little dumbwaiter here. Oh my god! Ah! I fell all the way down into the dungeons of Maidenpool. But anyway, it's a cool way to show off the dungeons here. It must be some jail cells or something cool down here. Perhaps some crypts as well that must be down this way. God, I can't believe I fell. That was terrifying. Anyway, let's see if we can make our way back up. Sorry for the little detour there. Anyway, back up, all the way back up. That was pretty clumsy on my part. I didn't want to fly back up. You've got to stick to my principles, you know. Can't be flying around. Anyway, here we are, back in the kitchen area. Again, love those tiled floors. Really cool little detail. Wish I'd seen more of that. And this must be the main hall of the Castle of Maidenpool. Love the chandelier here as well, and the Lord's Day up here, Day, D-A-I-S, if that's how you say it. A nice little place for the Lord to look out upon his subjects and his court. Really love it. This is a really beautiful hall. Again, the detail being placed in the ceiling here is really cool. And there's a nice little balcony up there as well. Right, so let's see if we can keep heading up. We'll find the Lord's chambers and see if we can find a nice little overlook as well. Just gotta find the stairs going up. Where are you, stairs? I've got some more storage areas in here. Of course, all of that detail being placed in. We've got some suits of iron hanging about as well. Oh, there we go. There's some stairs. Just head up. Up and up and up and up and up. Oh, beautiful. Again, the ceiling here is just fantastic. Sorry, I'm going on about the ceilings, but that used to be a hot key for me. when I was judging builds. Oh, here's that nice little overlook into the main hall here. And we've got some fancy noble chambers here. Let's see if we can find the Lord's chambers. This must be the Lord's wardrobe, or perhaps the servants' quarters, or the handmaidens' quarters. Come on, Lord's chambers. Gotta be around here somewhere. I might be missing it. It might be a little bit further up. Actually, yeah, it must be further up. Let's go up this part here. Let's see, go into the top of the keep and into... Oh, no, we're into another corridor here. And this must be the Lord's chambers around here. The Lord Solar in here, I guess, where he writes all of his correspondence to the other lords of Westeros. Got a nice little seating area, an audience chamber for the Lord. Very cool details being placed into all these things. Ah, here we go. This is the Lord's chambers. Nice big canopy bed, of course, for the Lord to reside comfortably in. Got a floor-length mirror. Ooh, night has fallen outside, which might give us a really cool view of the surrounding farmland. So let's see if we can find our way up to the upper part of the castle here. I think we just follow these stairs up and we'll come out onto the top of this keep. Oh, I love the moon texture here. And out here you can see all of the... That's the Bay of Crabs out there, and that's the ship we see in the distance that we started on in the lighthouse of Maidenpool. And coming around to this corner, we'll be able to get a great view of the town. There it is. Beautiful. It is a pretty big town for something that isn't really too much mentioned. In fact, the main events of Maidenpool happen after A Game of Thrones, the first book in A Song of Ice and Fire, so I don't want to spoil anything. But at the moment, at least, it is a beautiful town in the Riverlands. You can see those fields stretching out in the distance there. Really beautiful, really nicely done. So huge credit to Lyliana, who built this. Thank you so much for creating such an awesome thing. And there's so many places around Maidenpool as well that are cool to explore that aren't completely finished, but I will definitely do a video on that as well. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. We have videos every Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday, so come back for our next video, and I will see you then.